Hi everyone, so for today I would like to give you an update of my Japanese naturalization. This is a part 2 Japanese naturalization video. So if you have not watched your part 1, I will link it down below, and also the part 1 is my very first video I have uploaded on my channel. So if you're interested, please keep watching. So to start, I would just like to let you know, if you have not started the process or you don't know the process yet, every individual, every person who will apply for Japanese naturalization, it has a different, it's the same process, but everyone's situation is different. So your situation will probably different from me. So I would just like to share my experience, and the experience I would like to share is about the interview. So I will just talk about in 3 parts. So the number 1 part is how I got an interview or how I scheduled for it, and number 2 is how the interview go. I'm not gonna go into details because, as I mentioned, the question will be different for everyone. The person in charge or the examiner will have a question based on the papers you have submitted, so of course everyone's question will be different. And the part 3 will be the next step. So let's start with part 1. So how I got my interview scheduled. Actually, it took 7 months after I submitted my application for us to schedule an interview. It usually take 3 months, but because of COVID, Delta variant going strong, Olympic, so there's many things happened during the time I have submitted my papers and up to the interview. And also, the usual process is for the interviewer or the examiner to call you and schedule an appointment. But for me, it was a little bit different. So I would like to explain that. I actually called them because something in my application changed. There are a couple of things that changed, but the main thing was I changed job. Actually, I have not changed job yet. So I decided to resign from the company I'm working for. As of now, first week of January 2022, I am still employed by the company that I resigned for. So I will be resigning third week of this January, and the next day will be my first day of the company or the start of my contract. So I have decided to resign, and I have decided to sign the contract for my next company. I needed to call the home show or the examiner that I'll be leaving company and changing the company. So that's the reason why I called them. And I have one regret for this is I should have called them a little bit earlier, because I wanted to make sure before I called the examiner that I have signed my contract to ensure that I'm going to the next one. And then that process took a little bit, like maybe 2-3 weeks. When I finally signed the contract, I was not able to call them right away because I was so busy with work and they're closed on weekend. So when I finally called them, I told them my situation, I'll be leaving the company, changing job, and some of the information I provided for them. There's some changes in the information. And my examiner, or the person in charge of my application, he was so nice. He actually told me that he was planning to call me on January. And by January, I'll be starting with my next company. Some of the changes will be applicable in January. So he told me that he wanted to talk to me before a lot of the changes in the papers I have submitted. So he asked me if we could have an interview on December. That's how I got the schedule of my interview. So if anything changes in your situation, make sure to call the home show or your examiner even before the changes happens. Because I was lucky, I was able to schedule the interview right away. So I have my interview on December 24, 2021, Christmas Eve. So I'll consider that as a Christmas gift. Anyway, so that's how I was able to schedule my interview. I called them because of the changes in my status or changes in the papers I've submitted, and they wanted to schedule an interview. So usually you need to wait for them to call, and that's when you schedule interviews. So yes, if you have anything that will be changing, that had changed, my advice is to call them before anything changes. Part 2 is during the interview. So for the preparation of the interview, so during the interview, so I have prepared myself. So the first thing I prepared was I reviewed the paper I provided them or have submitted. I made it myself, but Yosei so she reviewed it. So I'm pretty familiar with the papers I have submitted, the content of it and everything. But of course it has been 7 months, so I needed to review it again, went through it again, and know what I have submitted. And the second thing is, for usual people, this may not be a question, but me as being a girl, I kind of worried about what I will be wearing, and I did some research, and there's no rule because it's just a interview. It's actually a casual interview for the examiner to go through your papers and for you to answer it if you have any question. Through my research, some people say just go with formal attire, like you need to be presentable. And yes, of course, you need to be presentable because, you know, that's the image you will be given. And in some of the rules, you need to be a good Japanese citizen, or you need to be a good abiding citizen. In Japanese culture, how you look like, how you present yourself is very important. So you need to have a good impression. So I just would like to share what I wore. If you're not interested, you may skip this part. But I just wore a long dress, a very modest dress. For some people, if you're not sure, you may just wear what you wear on your interview for your work, suit, something like that. But what I wore was a very modest dress, a long dress and long sleeve, and that is what I was comfortable with. So that's what I wore. So just wear something you're comfortable with and something presentable, and that would be fine. So on the day of the interview, my home kyoku is in Tokyo, and it's Gudanshita. That's a nearest station. It's in Gudanshita. So I actually got to the place 15 minutes early, and I was like, you know, I could wait on the waiting area. And when I got there, there's this person. He was one of the interviewer or who will assist you. So I just told him, yeah, I have my interview today at 2 p.m. And he just told me to wait in the waiting area and he will call the person in charge. And I was like 15 minutes early, so I wasn't expecting him to show up anytime soon. And so I was like trying to prepare myself mentally. And he came. He came not even 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes after. So we started the interview 10 minutes early. My interview will start at 2 p.m. So, you know, we started like 1:50 or something. So another thing, guys, sorry I'm all over the place. So another thing, guys, is, you know, it took me like 1 hour and 30 minutes for the interview to end. So you need to at least give 2 hours for the interview and plus your travel time. If you have work on that day, maybe take the whole afternoon off or whole morning off. It depends on the time you have your interview, or whole day off if that is possible. So on that day, I did not have any work anymore. So I was just able to prepare myself mentally on that day and also give time to the interview. Alright, so when the interview started, he just went through all the papers, or if he had any question. I'm not gonna go into details, but he was so nice. I'm not sure about other interviewer because they only have a limited information online about this. But when we started the interview, he gave me the file I have submitted and he was like, oh, this is your file. So if you're not sure, if you need to go look through it, just go look through it. So if you have any question and I wasn't sure, you know, I just need to go to that file that I have submitted, and that was so nice. So, I mean, I didn't actually need to review the papers I have submitted, but, you know, that was so nice and I already know what it is in it. So if you're nervous, you know, your anxiety level will go down if you are prepared. So my advice still is for you to go through your papers, and if your examiner is nice enough that you can check your submitted papers during the interview, that would be the best scenario. But I'm not sure if everyone will have that kind of opportunity. Anyway, the examiner was so nice. If he has any question and I need to check, I could just check the paper I provided. And my advice for you in this is just be honest. Just give your full honesty, because of course the papers you have submitted needs to be the truth, or it needs to be honest. So, you know, you don't really need to lie. I mean, there's no need to lie. Just be honest on everything. So one more thing about the interview is he went through all my bank accounts. So you need to submit your bank account, like the copy of your bank book, and he went through one by one. Oh, what was the transaction about? And you know, my transaction, there's nothing really I did, like nothing. I don't know, maybe there's some questionable thing, I'm not sure, But all my transactions, I just answered honestly. And there's some embarrassing transaction. Maybe I could just share it to you. So I actually transferred money to my clinic for my laser hair removal. I'm not sure why I did not pay for the credit card, but anyway, so that's what I did. And he asked, what is this transaction for? And I told him for laser hair removal. And that was a little bit embarrassing. So, you just like go through your bank book or the copy of the bank book you have submitted, because the examiner will go through it one by one. And I think that's the most part that I would like to share that to you. Your money transaction, you need to be honest for all the question he will answer. So there's nothing really apart from knowing what you have submitted, the content of what you have submitted. And of course, like me, it took 7 months to schedule an interview, which usually took 3 months. So there's a lot of things happening, changes in it, and that's fine, because that's life. So just be honest about it and go through the interview. And so the examiner was so nice, because around maybe 15-30 minutes he was like, oh, you can drink water or tea while we talk, because it was like more a casual interview where he just go through the papers that he want to ask question for him to be clear. And yeah, so it was so nice. Around an hour through it, he was like, I'm sorry, this is taking a lot of time, let me know if you need to go or something like that. I think that was also nice. So for me, for the interview, I think it was around an hour to an hour 30 minutes for the interview that went through it. We talk about other stuff other than interview or other than my papers, like some chit chat here and there. Of course, it's formal, it's professional chit chat, like how when I got here in Japan, like how my plan changes. Was my plan supposed to be, but it didn't work out, something like that. It's not really, maybe it's related to his examining me if I'm fit to be a Japanese citizen. But for me, it was like a little bit of chit chat here and there, and I was able to relax. I have been talking a lot, but my ultimate advice during the interview is for you to be honest. You also need to know what's inside the documents that you have submitted. And when you go to the interview, maybe arrive early. That will give you a good impression, and to look presentable. Alright, so yeah, be honest. Part 3 is the next step. So the next step is the examiner informed me that he will be calling the company I'm working for. So that is the company I will be resigning for. And he asked me if he could just call the company number. And my company's a little bit big, it's kind of complicated, we have many branches. So I told him if he could call the HR who knows the company and who knows about me as well, because the company being big, he may talk to someone but may know about the company, but the someone he talked to may not know me because it's a big company. So I told him that the human resource or HR, I know her personally, so if he is fine to call that person who knows about the company and know me personally, I think that would be better. I told him that if he would like to talk to the human resource, he would prefer that because she knows about the company and she knows me personally. So that's the next step, that told me that he will be calling the company. And that's my next step. So the examiner will already call the company before even interviewing you. I mean, I don't know the whole process because it's not in the open, but that's the next step for me. And he informed me that that may be that will probably be the last time I will be seeing him, and if any papers needed to be submitted additionally, that he will be calling me. That's the next step. So I emailed my HR that someone about my Japanese naturalization will be calling, and she told me that's fine. So I gave her the number to the examiner, and I don't know what's happening right now, but the next step is to wait for the result. So hopefully I'll have my result within this year. I don't know when, because for me to get an interview it takes 7 months. So I will need to wait until the end of the year. I don't know, but it is now only a waiting time, or the part I just need to wait and be patient. Alright, so that's it. That's it about my update. So if I have the result, good or bad, I will inform you. That's my promise. I will inform you, and let you know how it is. If you watched this video, I have my last advice. This is through my realization and of course through my research and watching a lot of YouTube videos, is documents you have submitted will be the ultimate telling point for you if you can be a Japanese citizen or not. And of course there's a lot of things that they can research also, but you know, I hope this video will help you a little bit. I just would like this to be, you know, give you more to give you more information, because there's nothing much about it, and also to share my experience. So thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe, it will help me a lot, and also good luck on your journey. Bye.